The rule was simple: no late submissions. Professor Thomas Abernathy deducted 10 points for every minute past the deadline, and eventually, he would learn what that felt like. Professor Abernathy's rule was absolute. All assignments were due at 9 a.m. sharp. If a student submitted even a single second late, 10 points were automatically deducted. If the submission was more than 15 minutes late, the assignment received a failing grade. He enforced this rule with relentless precision. I saw him punish 2 students that semester. When Meredith Olson's paper arrived at 9 and 27 seconds, Professor Abernathy declared, 27 seconds, Meredith, 10 points. When David Miller submitted at 9:15 and 1 second, Professor Abernathy stated, you're over the 15-minute limit, David. This assignment is a 0. Professor Abernathy's behavior was fueled by a need for control, possibly stemming from a fear of perceived chaos. My final project, a critical analysis of blockchain technology, was worth 50% of my grade. If I got a B on the project, it would drop my overall grade to a C. It was a stressful situation, but I wasn't willing to let Abernathy take control. I spent weeks researching and writing, ensuring every detail was perfect. I started arriving in the computer lab an hour early, 8 a.m., every morning. I meticulously saved my work, making multiple backups on a flash drive and emailing myself copies. I took screenshots of the digital clock on the computer, logging the exact time of each save. 9 a.m. approached. 8:50 a.m. I was in the computer lab, my final draft opened, ready to click submit. 8:55 a.m. I looked around. Professor Abernathy was nowhere to be seen. 8:58 a.m. Sweat beaded on my forehead. My fingers hovered over the submit button. 9 a.m. Still nothing. 9:05 a.m. The deadline had passed and still no Professor Abernathy. I could feel the dread rising. 9:10 a.m. Other students began whispering. Finally, at 9:20 a.m., Professor Abernathy strode into the lab, a stack of papers clutched in his hand. Apologies for my lateness, he said, slightly out of breath. I had a flat tire. I took a deep breath. Professor Abernathy, I began calmly. According to the syllabus, Section 3, submissions are due at 9 a.m. Isn't that correct? I pulled out my phone and held it up. Several other students began recording with their phones. Just then, the dean walked in, holding an envelope. Professor Abernathy, he said, I believe this is for you. He handed over the envelope, which contained a formal complaint. The dean stated, your proposal to the university was due at 9 a.m. It has just been received, submitted at 9:20 a.m. As per your own policy, that is a deduction of 20 points, resulting in a failing grade. This was a perfect illustration of the reciprocity principle, which states that when you treat someone a certain way, they tend to treat you the same way.